Welcome to Wow, a Women of Worth. I'm Michelle Martin. This is the talk show where ideas matter because we believe it's ideas that matter to women of worth. And joining me in the studio, the real-life stars of a brand new original series on Lifetime, Mums Time Out. Real-life partners and business partners as well. Julie and Christopher Pang. Welcome to the show, Julie and Christopher.
Thank you.
Hello.
And they're here to tell us what happened in their experience taping for a television series where mom goes away for 5 days. We really get to answer the question, what happens when mom goes AWOL? Oh, where she just disappears from the family. What happens to the family? What happens to dad? Would they do it all over again? And joining us also in the studio to give us an overview of the series, which includes two other couples, I understand, from Malaysia and the Philippines. Chris Humphrey is Director of Production at A&E Networks. How are you, Chris?
Hi, very good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, first up, let's turn the spotlight onto Dad, Christopher Pang. So Dad, $1 million question. Would you do this all over again? Shoot for a series where mom gets to go away on holiday, all expenses paid, for 5 days while you run the family.
No, unless there is this dad's timeout. Yes, I can consider. Yeah.
Is that your honest answer? You wouldn't do it again?
I don't think so.
Oh boy, okay. Give us a little taste of what was some of the big challenges for you.
The biggest challenge is to our kind producer. They decided to bring us to a to have a to sponsor a dinner in a fine dining Indian restaurant.
Okay.
Which I should have told them that my children's most hated food is chicken rice.
The most hated food is chicken rice. But I'm assuming at this fine dining restaurant, which was an Indian restaurant, they didn't have chicken rice.
I should have told them that.
Oh,
yeah, I should
so
have
that
told
you
them
would have
that,
had chicken rice instead.
Yeah, my children's most hated
That's
food
the
is
production
chicken rice.
secret.
So it was a toughie. Everyone.
How old are your kids, first of all? So let's imagine mom's away on this all expenses paid holiday, and dad, as one of his first hurdles, has to take the kids to fine dining by himself, and the kids' age range from 5 to 13.
Yeah, my eldest is 13, second is 10, and the youngest being 5.
Is this something you've done before? Taking the kids out?
Not really.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens?
My eldest behaved himself, so I'm proud of him. My second and my third, it's a bit of challenge. They have they ran around. They lie down on the chair. Everyone was just looking at us. The diners over there was just looking at us.
Yeah.
And if it's not because of the camera, we would have been chased out.
Yeah, it's one place where even adults struggle to be adults. The fine dining experience, right? Which fork do I use? Am I using the napkin right? And here you are, Dad, all alone with your 3 kids. I'm sure they're normally well behaved, right? He struggles.
Out of words, yeah.
Okay, he's speechless, let's put it that way. Julie, come in the conversation. Tell us, whose idea was it to be part of this reality series where you get to go away on a holiday?
Actually, it was my idea. I was very keen, and Chris took a lot of persuasion. And finally, we had to barter. So in exchange for this all expenses paid 5-day trip to Lanco, Vietnam, he gets to go on a fishing trip.
Oh, so he gets something out of it. But it was
Yes.
your idea.
Yes,
we always
yeah.
think when moms go away, they might think it's a good idea, and then the guilt starts to come in. The mommy
yeah,
guilt
it
of how's
does.
everybody doing. Did you experience that?
Tremendous guilt. I can't even go for a facial or massage without feeling like, oh no, what are the kids up to? Maybe I should be spending the time to prepare dinner, something special for them. So I always feel guilty, like, if I go for just facial or massage, I'm like constantly, worried and thinking, So this is actually my first trip overseas without the children.
Oh, gosh. And because you're filming, is it a rule that you cannot be in touch with your family throughout this entire 5 days?
Yes, it was a completely blackout period. So I was not allowed to text, not allowed to like Facebook them or FaceTime them or, Skype. Unless it's a controlled Skype conversation or something like that.
So Mom's really out of the equation during this 5 days. Daddy's running the house and stepping into Mom's big shoes as well. Mom, what were some of your challenges, Julie?
Just to relax and have fun. That was a challenge.
Even though this was a holiday you're mandated to take, you've signed up for it, it still is a challenge getting into that vacation mode of mind,
Yeah,
right?
because most of the time we travel as a family, and we've never even been on a holiday, just my husband and I alone. If we go on holidays, the children are always with us. Yeah.
Did it take some time to come back into, your own space and organizing the time on vacation according to what you like as opposed to what everybody else wants to do?
Actually, the vacation was like we had various activities to try, so I could choose like some of the outdoor sports or lantern making, things like that. So it was quite fun. I got to try wakeboarding, which I'd never done before.
Okay, looks like you slipped into me time without any problems.
Yes, but
great.
that doesn't mean I wasn't thinking about home and
Yeah.
the kids and missing them and just worried that the house would be burned down.
Add to your wow factor with Michelle Martin in the Wow Club on 938 Live.
Welcome to Wow, a Women of Worth. The Pungs were part of a social experiment for a small screen. Julie and Christopher tell me what really happened when Mum disappeared for 5 days. They're the stars of Lifetime's very first original reality series, Mum's Time Out. Also joining us, Director of Production Christopher Humphrey. Welcome to Wow, a Women of Worth. I'm Michelle Martin. Let's bring Chris Humphrey, the director from A&E Networks, into the picture. Tell us a little bit about the idea behind this particular series. Who came up with it? How did it evolve?
Well, we've always wanted to make a show with Asians,
Yeah.
which touches the Asian values, which is either food or money or
Yes.
family.
Yes.
So for Lifetime, we were exploring family, and we were exploring the idea that being a mother is an attitude and not necessarily a
Gender-specific role.
not necessarily a blood relation.
I love that idea. Being a mother is an attitude.
So, yeah, we had this too, and then the next thing was to find some Asians who would want to take part.
This reminds me a little bit of A Town with No Women, which was also shown on Lifetime. But this seems like a scaled-down version of that, where an entire town of women go
That's right.
away.
Yeah. The week the women went.
The week the women
Yeah.
went. Yeah.
But this was focused more on individual couples, and we chose, we cast out the net for couples out of Malaysia and Philippines and Singapore.
I want to broaden that theme of mothering being an attitude, which I think is such a delicious theme to dive into. Dad, or Chris, did your parenting style evolve as a result of this experience? Did you start to maybe reassess your own parenting style?
Definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I could have done better on a hindsight. We printed out a whole, we printed out a lot of photographs to be pasted on the wall, just to remind you of, how they grow up, and you kind of like, miss their whole childhood thingy. So sometimes when you want to get angry and you walk down that little staircase where all the photographs are, you kind of like soften your heart a little bit.
Because I understand who is stronger with corporal punishment, who believes in
He
corporal
is.
punishment. Daddy does, and Mommy doesn't. So that's a line of contention, right? Oh,
It's
that
not
was?
I don't believe
No.
in corporal punishment, but I'm not so harsh.
Yeah. So when Mummy was away, did the kids get a whole bucket load of corporal punishment? Yes. He's
Not
nodding.
really, because the cameras are because of the cameras.
You
yeah.
held yourself back from spanking because the cameras were on.
There's a lot of self-control needed.
Right. So
yeah.
did you have to adopt some of Julie's methods of parenting?
I tried.
You
Yeah.
did. Tell
I
me about
tried.
some of them. So when it comes to discipline, what did you have to do?
When Julie's not around,
When she was away, yeah.
when she's away.
What did you find worked best when it came to discipline?
I guess it's a controlled environment, so there's a lot of things that I cannot do, honestly. There were a lot of friends around, so, the method which I have always been using, I cannot do it in front of the camera.
Oh.
So, I give you an example, children being children, especially boys, they tend to push limits.
Yeah.
So, every time when I ask them to stop, they won't, and they will just keep on pushing the boundaries, and have to come to a point of time that I have to kind of like shout at them, or possibly, ask them to stand outside into the garden.
Right.
So-
What have you learned about Julie through this experience? Of having to step into her shoes while she was away for 5 days and being mum and center of household, I imagine.
I think she get the easier of all the of what's going on here. That's for sure. What have I learned
About Julie,
about Julie?
by stepping into her role.
I guess one thing that I need to learn from her is that the children are more willing to go to her to share more about what's going on in their life and school, etc., etc. And that is something that my elder boy don't share with me that often. So there are a couple of things that I've discovered only through Julie and not from my boy. Yeah, and yeah.
Julie, what do you think you learned about mothering through this experience?
For me, I think it's important to get away some time. And when you're away, you appreciate the children better. You don't feel resentful of the fact that you have to be a mom, because me time is significantly absent. And you don't feel that, you're stuck in the mundane things of, doing the housework, cooking and, chasing after the kids, cleaning and stuff like that. And you don't feel so burnt out. So going away, I think really refreshed me and appreciated the family more. And when I came back, I was like, more patient, more loving and, a better mom altogether.
Okay, tell us about the sight that greeted you when you first came back home after 5 days away and Chris, your husband, in charge of running the household and the family. What was the scene that greeted you? Was it your worst nightmare come true? Did the kids have their pants on backwards? What greeted you?
Well, when I came home, they had prepared a surprise dinner for me, and Chris came out really nicely dressed. He's a simple man, so he hardly bothers to dress up. So I think the crew, the producer, they heeded my inner cry, and they brought him shopping, and he actually got some decent, manly, handsome clothes on.
Wow.
So it was very nice.
So it sounds like your husband gets the award for most improved.
Yeah, makeover, complete makeover. Yeah, so he had a nice jacket on, and he had flowers, which is very rare.
What was the state of the house like?
A little bit messy. But love covers a multitude of sins, so I think that's forgivable.
And you hadn't seen the kids in 1 week. Could you see significant changes?
My younger two were, withdrawn into their world of computer games.
Yeah.
So they were on the iPhone, iPad. Yeah, and my eldest was very good. I think he had some good quality time with Dad. So he helped to, prepare the food and to to be a waiter.
What was a key lesson, do you think, that you took away, Julie, from this experience? Besides, that spending time is important for you as a person. What did you take away? Did you learn anything about Chris, for example?
I think, he's a great dad, and he not only does he try, but he actually, has made improvements in the area of, being more patient with the children, and learning to, mind his emotional temperament before he deals with them. Especially they are quite trying sometimes. We have 3 boys, and they're all boisterous, bouncing off the walls kind of boys.
Oh boy. Can't wait to watch them on screen, really. Welcome to WOW, I'm Michelle Martin. It was a social experiment for small screen, which answered the question, what really happens should mom disappear for 5 days on an all-expenses-paid holiday and leaves dad behind to cope with, well, everything, house and family. We find out more from Julie and Christopher Pang, the Singaporeans featured in Mum's Time Out, and also from director of production Christopher Humphrey, who shares the wider lessons from the series that featured mothers from families from Singapore, Malaysia and the Philippines. So Chris, you're in charge of, I believe, commissioning, overseeing commissioning all the work that happens here in Asia.
Yes.
From your perspective, what is it that Asian women want to watch on TV?
I think one thing that we really like about this show is it's a lot of, we can all relate to it.
Yeah.
You can relate to it as a dad, you can relate to it as a mum, but you don't have these, there's not massive dramatic moments like in American television. There's a lot of subtleties, but what we're seeing here is we are seeing, classic Asian families which, represent the whole region, and we're all thinking, oh no, she's crying. Oh no, she's crying. No, do something. Oh no, too late. And we've all, it's very easy to get involved in, and that's a great thing for a TV show. If you can, you can automatically relate to that, and it's quite unusual that we're able to have Asian families who are willing to let the cameras follow them around, speak freely. We're very privileged to have that, actually.
One question that members of the audience watching reality TV always has in the foremost of their minds is how much is scripted, how much is planned, so to speak, and how much is real. And we heard a little bit about the fine dining experience being somewhat set up. So tell us, Chris, how much of this was real?
A lot of it's real. What our job is to make sure there are activities to fill the screen time. But, and that's essentially, when you're a teacher and you've got a kid full of class, you've got to make sure you go right to 50 minutes and fill those to the exact minute. And it's the same with TV. We've got to make sure we've got enough.
So the timetable wasn't the other Chris's timetable for a day. It was sort of set up, so to speak, right? With significant challenges, I imagine.
And for each family, we've got to look around what we can do when we do the pre-interviews.
Of course.
We get to find,
of course,
when we're casting,
yeah,
what kind of person they are, what's the relationship, what are
so
the kids
why did
like.
the Pungs make it in casting?
Because they're very open.
Besides the fact that they've got lovely smiles.
I think a lot of the strength was they have a core, strong family unit, and because of this, they're able to make fun openly, and they can rib each other a little bit, and you can see the funny side, and they can speak openly, but underneath, there's you feel it's pretty strong there, and that comes across. And so they're both very charming and fun on TV. Not everyone wants to be on TV.
Are you sure?
It's not everyone's.
Are you sure? In this day and age.
Yeah, it's not a. Not everyone shines on television.
I think not everyone's open to the idea of their innermost lives being shown on TV, especially in
Very
Asia.
vulnerable.
Yes.
And being in their house, that's a
With
very
their
personal
kids.
thing.
Yeah.
To be in the house with their kids. So as I mentioned, we feel very privileged to do that. It's fun.
At our expense, right?
Of course, but hey.
Okay, tell me a little bit about some of the high points that viewers are going to be able to catch of this particular episode. I think fine dining, I'm looking out for that. What else, Chris?
Well, there's 5 episodes.
What are the significant challenges are we going to see the other Chris going through?
Chris has to try and be grown up in his job. With little children running around, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
You work from home, do you?
No.
No.
Okay. So fill in the blanks for me. What is that referring to?
I think he's referring to that I have an appointment. I'm doing a handover, and I have to bring the little ones to work as well. And I really have no time to entertain them, and I just have to let loose and let them do whatever they want to do. You know, jump on the trampoline, go around the pool. You know, hopefully they don't drop into the pool.
Yeah.
And run run astray, I suppose.
And that is something that everyone relates to, because at some point we all have to look after our kids and take them to work and be like, no, just behave.
Don't
please,
touch that.
Just behave.
Sit
Or
down.
in the restaurant, we all take our kids to restaurant,
Yeah.
and we're all very aware what other people are looking. You know, people are looking, what are they going to do? And now then the other thing that came across, and it's universal now, is how much the kids use their iPads and their
Yeah.
iPhones, and every parent has this challenge. And what's great is we all relate to that.
What is this? The challenge of prying them away from their
Yes.
screens?
Yes.
Or just to see, it's almost comforting that, your kids, they, thank goodness you got the same problem.
You're not alone.
Add to your wow factor with Michelle Martin in the Wow Club on 938 Live.
We're chatting with the stars of the new reality series, Mum's Time Out. Julie and Christopher Pang are parents, and they embarked on this great social experiment brought to the screen by Lifetime. Chris Humphrey, the director of productions from A&E Networks, also joining us in the conversation. So what really happens when 3 mothers from Southeast Asia get an all-expenses-paid holiday to a spa? They leave their husbands behind to look after the homes and the children. So we see how families from Singapore, Malaysia and the Philippines cope with this intriguing look at what happens when mum's away, and can dads handle it all. Let's chat with the dad at the center of all this. Dad, you were a complete star for a day. Tell us, are there other lessons that you learn on parenting that you can share with other dads maybe when it comes to parenting?
Wow, that's a multi-million-dollar question. I think you really got to enjoy, the journey. I mean, being a dad, to start off with, you have to have passion with what you want to do, including raising up a family. Honestly, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of talks out there, telling us that we need to have passion with our work, with our hobby, with interests, etc., etc. But we haven't come across a show, I suppose, that will tell us, you got to have passion with your family as well.
Is it as hard as we think it is, taking on the roles of both mum and dad, or did it get easier the easier you were on yourself? The more you let go, so to speak. Or no, it was just hard. It was just hard.
It was difficult. Yeah, it was difficult.
Really difficult
Yeah.
being both mum and dad. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because, we think moms are the best search engines in the world. Where's my socks? Moms
Yeah.
know, right? So did you have any moments like this when, your own home seems like this indecipherable maze because mom's not there to tell you where everything is?
A little bit.
What did you most miss about mum being around that week, do you think?
I think it's a convenience of just, having to know someone's there and say, hey, go to mom and do it, go
Right.
to mom and wash the bum.
It looks like you learned a lot of skills during this week.
Go to mom and find your uniform, yeah. So and-
ironing, putting away the clothes, everything, did you have to do all that? Or did you do it the Singaporean style of, we have a reality show next week, we're going to plan for everything in advance. Everything's going to be ironed.
I behaved myself. So
You did take on some of the housework then.
Yes, I did. Yeah, in fact, all of them. I mean, basically, I have to cook. I have to make sure that, especially the second and third boy, finishes their meal, which is extremely difficult.
Yeah, they're picky eaters.
Yeah, they're extremely picky eaters, and especially my second son. He doesn't. We have to force him to shower.
So I can imagine, Chris, I'm turning to Chris Humphrey now, the director of productions. When you set up these series, you must look back at your pre-interviews and look for, maybe hot spots or hot buttons. So what was some of these hot spots for the Pangs?
Definitely the lifestyle. You can tell that Chris is a hard-working dad. You can get the banter, because when I talked about the banter earlier on, the mums will say little quips, and like, you think you are good at that, do you? Well, I beg to. And they say these little quirky, and you think, yeah, the relationship's it can be kind of fun, but Chris would benefit from playing with his boys.
So you both work together in a business,
Yes,
but tell
we
us
do.
about the division of labor and caring in the household, usually.
I think for housework, we jointly, take charge of that. So for meals, mainly it's me for cooking. And then for laundry, Chris will put everything in and hang it up. And I will, sort out the clothing and put it into the wardrobes. Yeah. For housework, mostly me. Sometimes when, I'm really overworked, then, he will help with like mopping the floor and,
So it
cleaning
sounds
the
pretty shared. It sounds like shared, the housework.
We try to, or I try to impose.
And with the child rearing, who takes the bulk of the caring? Are you both out of the house equally as often?
Yes, we work hard. I think
This is great. This is typical of the Singaporean couple. I think that people watching will be able to identify with both parents working.
Yeah, they will.
But we're not the typical Singapore family, because we decided to give up our maid 3 years ago. So
That is atypical. No helper.
very atypical.
Both
yes.
working and taking care of the house yourself.
Yes.
Why did you choose to take that route?
Because we felt that the children were closer to the maid, and they were very spoilt. They wouldn't pick up after themselves. They wouldn't clean up after they played with their toys, and even fetching a glass of orange juice or milk. Auntie, please get me this.
They're being
They
growing
refused to walk
entitled.
to the kitchen to do anything. So we wanted our children to learn independence and to be able to handle, simple household chores. So we are in the process of undoing all the bad habits that the maid,
Having a helper
allowed
around.
them. Yes, allowed them. Yes. And even like simple things like sitting down to eat dinner at the dining table instead of in front of the TV, and in the past we started out right. And then when the maid came, because we relegated, the household responsibilities to her, she tended to let them run around the house, and then she'll run after them with a bowl and a spoon of food, trying to feed them.
Right,
and they had full liberty to run everywhere and do whatever they wanted.
And then you realize your children are being brought up by rules not set by you. So you're taking back
Correct, yeah.
responsibility
Correct,
for the
of
parenting.
the parenting. Yes. So we're in the midst of that, and training them to, cook simple things. So my eldest can cook, eggs, scrambled eggs,
Yeah.
fried
Great.
rice,
Great to hear.
pancakes,
Do you think this would be a different show if Dad went away for 5 days, Chris?
It'd certainly be a different show what Dad does on holiday.
Not what Dad does on holiday, how Mom copes.
I don't think it would be as different, and it wouldn't be as good. I think definitely, because I think the mum will go through the process that she's normally doing.
Right. So it only works when you reverse the stereotypes.
It
so
works.
to speak.
It works a lot better. Yeah.
Because men can't multitask, so that's another thing.
Is that what we see in the show?
That's a good point.
Sorry, gotta disagree.
Do the men in the room agree?
Agree.
I think the other Chris has learned to multitask since he had to be mum for a week.
Much better.
He can't even talk to me when he's watching soccer. It's very bad.
Chris, I like this show because it deals with stereotypes, and I love anything that tackles stereotypes. One other overarching stereotypes, I think, for reality programming is that Asians aren't terribly dramatic on screen. Is that your take on that?
Yes, I think that's true. That's why we needed to cast. We're inundated with the American shows where they like a lot of angst, a lot of anger, do a lot of dirty washing in public, and our challenge is to make an entertaining TV show that it's not going to have that in. Culturally, you're dealing with strong cultures here. And we need to respect that, because or else nobody's going to want to take part. So we
Add to your wow factor with Michelle Martin in the Wow Club on 938 Live.